Welcome to WealthRise Stories, where clarity meets knowledge, and knowledge becomes financial power.
Hello there, I'm WealthRise Stories, and I'm truly glad you've taken the time to stop by our channel today. I know modern life is chaotic, every minute is precious, and the fact that you chose to pause here tells me something is calling you. Maybe it's a quiet longing, a question left unanswered, or simply the desire to dive deeper into a topic. Many people still hesitate to talk about money and investing. Let's try a small exercise together. I want you to close your eyes if you're in a safe place to do that, or simply relax your body and let your mind wander a bit. Have you ever wondered, what if every dollar you're holding today, every bill, every dime, every number in your bank account, wasn't just a lifeless figure, but could become a hard-working employee, tirelessly laboring for your future? An employee who never complains, never takes a day off, and is always creating new value for you, even while you're sound asleep, enjoying a delicious meal with your family, or wandering along a sunny, windswept beach in some far-off corner of the world. If that were true, how would your life change? Imagine waking up in the morning without that annoying alarm. You stretch comfortably without having to rush to the office unless you want to. Instead, you can sip your favorite coffee, finish that book you left halfway, or simply spend unrushed time playing with your kids or pets without glancing at the clock. Picture yourself finally pursuing that long-held passion, learning a new language, opening a small art class, launching that crazy business idea you've always dreamed about, or simply having the money and time to take your parents on a trip around the world, something you've always promised but never managed to do because of financial pressure. What if those long nights spent worrying about upcoming bills, your kids' tuition, or your insufficient retirement fund completely disappeared, replaced instead by a sense of peace? True peace that comes from knowing you and your loved ones are protected and supported by a solid financial foundation. You're no longer trapped in the mindset of working to survive, but finally free to live, to do what you love, to live as your most authentic self. This isn't some far-fetched dream. It's a future you can absolutely reach, a future where you're the one steering the ship of your life, instead of being tossed around by financial storms or monthly paychecks. It's the destination I call personal freedom, a kind of freedom that isn't just about having more money, but having enough choice, enough time, and enough energy to live a meaningful life aligned with your core values. I know when people hear the word investing, many of us instantly picture complicated charts, dry numbers, scary risks, or stories of quick but unstable riches. Maybe you feel it's something only for the wealthy financial experts or thrill seekers who enjoy gambling with the market. But let me tell you a secret. Investing isn't scary, it isn't complicated, and it's certainly not a game of luck the way you might think. In truth, it's an incredibly powerful tool, an essential skill that anyone can learn and master. It's like learning to drive or learning to swim. Sure, it might feel intimidating at first, but once you understand the principles and practice correctly, it opens up an entire world of new possibilities. And here's my promise to you. In the next 2 hours, or whenever you finish this video, we're going to transform the idea of investing from something intimidating, distant, and complicated into a trustworthy companion on your journey toward the financial freedom I just described. We won't talk about tricks or unrealistic get-rich-quick formulas. Instead, we'll explore core principles, the right mindset, and sustainable strategies based on real knowledge and real experience, so you can confidently lay the first bricks of your own castle of prosperity. This isn't a dry lecture. It's an honest, genuine conversation built from personal experiences, from what I've learned applied successfully, and the mistakes I've made throughout my investing journey. I'll share practical perspectives and simple, clear advice, so you not only know how to invest, but also understand why and when you should do it. Think of this as the map you need to unlock a life with less worry, more choices, and most importantly, more freedom. Freedom to chase your dreams, freedom to spend time with the people you love, and freedom to become the best version of yourself. Are you ready for this journey? If you are, then let's begin right now with the next part, where we'll lay the solid foundation for your investing journey. Welcome back to the How to Invest Money series. In the previous part, we laid the foundation for your investing mindset. But I bet that right now, many of you watching might be feeling a bit anxious, a bit confused. Maybe your mind is running through thousands of questions. What exactly is investing? Is it hard? If I don't have much money, can I still invest? What if I lose everything? You know what? I understand that feeling better than anyone. Because trust me, I used to be just like you. Exactly like that. Let's rewind time back to about 10 years ago, when I first started tiptoeing into the world of investing. Back then in my head, investing was something luxurious, complicated, and honestly terrifying. It felt like a giant maze wrapped in the walls of dry financial jargon and confusing dancing numbers. My eyes would skim through economic articles, financial forums, and I felt like an alien reading another species' language. Things like PE ratio, EPS margin, call leverage, bull and bear markets, technical analysis, Japanese candlesticks, Ichimoku cloud. Just hearing them gave me a headache. Every term felt like a barrier, a whisper saying, "This isn't for you. You're not smart enough." And the biggest fear, the one that haunted me the most, was the fear of losing money. I'd heard stories of friends, acquaintances whose accounts were wiped out, who lost billions of jong, whose families fell apart because they recklessly got into stocks or crypto. Those stories echoed in my mind, turning investing into a monster ready to swallow everything I had. I remember telling myself so many times, nope, this definitely isn't for me. I don't have that financial gene. I can't understand those complicated charts. I don't have enough money to try and take risks. That feeling of inadequacy, helplessness of being left behind, it was so real, so vivid. It made me want to turn my back and run from anything related to finance, to money, to investing. And I believe many of you watching have either been through that or are going through it right now. But then slowly, through learning on my own, researching, trying things out, and even stumbling so hard I wanted to quit, I began to see another side of investing, a much more human side. I realized that investing isn't about cold numbers on a phone or computer screen. It isn't a luck-based gambling game. And it's certainly not a race to see who gets rich the fastest or who can brag about the biggest returns. At its core, investing is a tool. A powerful tool, a quiet partner that helps us build a life that's more meaningful, safer, and freer. Think about it. Do you want enough money so you don't have to worry about monthly bills? Do you want more quality time with your family and kids instead of draining yourself at work? Or do you want your children to have the best education possible to give wings to their dreams? Do you want to pursue a long-held passion without checking your wallet or fearing shortages? Do you want a cozy home, a dream vacation, or simply a solid safety net for sickness emergencies or life's unexpected storms? That is the human side of investing that I'm talking about. Money and investing aren't the final destination. They're the vehicle, the catalyst that helps us bring those meaningful values to life. It's like planting a tiny seed today, so that someday you can harvest a vast garden of freedom, peace, and happiness. And the best part is, if I, someone who was once completely overwhelmed, terrified, and ready to give up, could learn and succeed, then so can you. Investing isn't a privilege for math geniuses or people born with a golden spoon. It's a skill. And any skill from driving, cooking, playing an instrument to building a house can be learned with the right guidance and a little patience. That is the biggest goal of this video series. I'm not going to throw you into a sea of complicated jargon or scare you with messy charts or dry economic theories. Instead, I'll walk with you through a clear roadmap, step by step, in the simplest way possible. We'll explore together, from the most basic, easy-to-understand concepts about money and investing, to how the market actually works, how to choose investment tools that fit your goals and circumstances, and how to build a solid financial plan, a personalized, effective investing strategy of your own. The goal is for anyone, no matter your starting point, or whether you have financial knowledge or not, to confidently begin your investing journey. To show you that managing your personal finances, building a prosperous and secure future, isn't some distant dream, but a reality that's completely within your reach. You're not alone on this journey. I'll be here walking beside you. Trust me and trust yourself. Together, let's break down the barriers, the fears. Welcome back to the How to Invest Money series. In the previous part, we laid the foundation for an investing mindset together. But I bet that right now, many of you watching might be feeling a bit anxious, a bit confused. Maybe your mind is spinning with thousands of questions. What exactly is investing? Is it difficult? Can I invest if I don't have much money? What if I lose everything? You know what, I understand that feeling better than anyone. Because trust me, I used to be just like you. Completely. Let's rewind time to about 10 years ago, when I first started fumbling my way into the world of investing. Back then, in my mind, investing was something both luxurious and complicated, and honestly, pretty frightening. It felt like a giant maze built from walls of dry financial jargon and confusing dancing numbers. My eyes skimmed through economic articles and financial forums, and I felt like an alien looking at a world I didn't belong to. Things like P/E ratio, EPS margin, call leverage, bull and bear markets, technical analysis, candlesticks, Ichimoku cloud. Just hearing them gave me a headache. Every term was a barrier, a whisper saying this isn't for you. You're not smart enough. And the biggest fear, but the most haunting one, was the fear of losing money. I had heard stories about friends, acquaintances whose accounts were wiped out, who lost billions of jong, even lost their homes and families because they recklessly got into stocks or crypto. Those stories echoed in my mind, turning investing into a terrifying monster, ready to swallow everything I had. I remember telling myself so many times, nope, this definitely isn't for me. I don't have that financial gene. I can't understand those complicated charts. I don't have enough money to try and take risks. That feeling of inadequacy, helplessness, of being left behind, it was so real, so clear. It made me want to turn away and run from anything related to finance, money, or investing. And I believe many of you watching have either experienced or are experiencing the same thing. But then gradually, through self-learning, exploring, experimenting, and even stumbling so hard that I almost quit, I began to see another side of investing, a much more human side. I realized that investing isn't just lifeless numbers on a phone or computer screen. It's not a gambling game of luck. And it's definitely not a race to see who gets rich the fastest or who can brag about massive returns. At its core, investing is a tool, a powerful tool, a quiet partner that helps us build a life that's more meaningful, safer, and freer. Think about it. Do you want enough money so you don't have to worry about monthly bills? Do you want more quality time for your family and kids instead of draining yourself at work? Or do you want your children to have the best education possible, giving wings to their dream? Do you want to pursue a long-held personal passion without checking your wallet or worrying about scarcity? Do you want a cozy home, a trip to the place you've always dreamed of? Or simply a solid emergency fund for sickness, hardship, or unexpected storms life may throw at you? That is the humanity in investing that I'm talking about. Money and investing aren't the final goal. They're the means, the catalyst that helps us bring those meaningful values to life. It's like planting a tiny seed today, so that someday you can harvest a vast garden of freedom, peace, and happiness. And the best part is, if someone who was once completely overwhelmed, terrified to the point of wanting to quit, could eventually learn and do it then, so can you. Investing isn't some privilege reserved for math geniuses or people born with a golden spoon. It's a skill. And any skill, from driving, cooking, playing an instrument to building a house, can be learned with the right guidance and a bit of patience. That is the biggest goal of this video series. I'm not going to throw you into a sea of complicated jargon or scare you with messy charts or dry economic theories. Instead, I'll walk with you through a clear roadmap, step by step, as simple as possible. We'll explore together, from the most basic, easiest to understand concepts about money and investing, to how the market actually works, how to choose investment tools that fit your goals and your circumstances, and how to build a solid financial plan, a personalized, effective investing strategy of your own. The goal is that anyone, no matter your starting point, whether you have financial knowledge or not, can confidently begin your investing journey. To help you see that managing personal finances, building a prosperous and secure future, isn't some distant dream, but a reality well within your reach. You're not alone on this journey. I'll be here walking right beside you. Trust me and trust yourself. Together, let's remove the barriers, the fears. Welcome back to the How to Invest Money series on our channel. If in Chapter 1 we laid the very first brick together, that is your mindset, the right way to look at money and investing, then today we're going to move into a part that's just as important, but one that I'm willing to bet a lot of people often skip because they think it's boring or unnecessary. But trust me, this is exactly the foundation for your wealth-building journey. This is Chapter 2, Your Financial House, laying the foundation before building the floors. Picture it like this if you want to build your dream home, a beautiful villa, or even a castle. Would you ever start by decorating the interior first? Of course not. You have to pour the foundation, put up the frame, and only then do you think about the leather sofa or the chandelier in the living room. Your personal finances work the exact same way. Investing is the shiny upper floors, the fancy interior. But if your financial foundation is weak and unstable, then the entire house above it could collapse at any time. The goal of this chapter is very clear. We're going to walk through the basic financial preparations you must have in place before you even think about putting money into the market. Think of this as your training session to become the financial architect of your own life. Ready? Let's do this. What we're about to cover might sound a bit dry, but in reality, these are your life jackets, your safety cushions that help you stand firm against any shock life might throw at you. Suddenly losing your job, a serious car breakdown, medical bills shooting up your AC, dying in the middle of summer. No one wants those things to happen, but they still do. And if you don't have an emergency fund, what will you do? Most likely you'll have to sell some of your investments, usually at the worst possible time when the market is down. Meaning you're selling at a loss, or worse, you'll have to take on high-interest debt. So what exactly is an emergency fund, and how much do you need? It's simple. It's the money you set aside to cover 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. Personally, I always recommend aiming for 6 months to have real peace of mind. And remember, 3 to 6 months of living expenses, not 3 to 6 months of income. Those are two very different things. Living expenses include rent or mortgage, food, transportation, insurance, utilities, internet, and other essentials. They do not include fancy dining out, spontaneous trips, Black Friday shopping sprees, or luxury purchases. A US-style example. If your essential living expenses are about $2,000 per month, then your emergency fund should be in the $6,000 to $12,000 range. Where should you keep your emergency fund? This is money for emergencies, so it needs to be safe and easily accessible. a high-yield savings account, SHISA, or a short-term CD certificate of deposit. Do not put this fund into volatile investments like stocks, crypto, or real estate. When you urgently need the money, there's a good chance the market is in the red, and you'll be forced to sell at a loss. I remember when I first graduated with the mindset that money has to work, I put all my cash into stocks. Then one day my car broke down badly and the repair bill was nearly $900. I had no cash cushion, so I was forced to sell some of my stocks in a hurry, right when the market was going down. A very expensive lesson. That's when I understood the emergency fund is not there to make you rich. It's there to protect your financial stability, so you don't have to blow up your investing plan just because of a random emergency. Think of your emergency fund as the very first reinforced concrete layer of your financial house. And don't ever skip it. After we've poured that reinforced concrete foundation, we need to draw up a detailed blueprint for our house. That is, how to create a simple budget to understand your cash flow, money in, money out. Sounds boring or fussy, right? I get that. Back then, I also thought budgeting was only for accountants or people who nitpick every penny. But when I actually started doing it, I realized this was the real awakening. Budgeting isn't about tightening your spending in a negative way. It's about helping you understand where your money is going. It's like setting up a GPS tracking system for your cash flow. What is a simple budget? It's basically just writing down your income and comparing it to your expenses. The goal is to make sure that money in, money out. If not, you're living beyond your means, and that's a recipe for financial trouble. How do you create a budget in the simplest way possible? 1. Write down your income, salary, bonuses, side hustle, income, rental income. Everything you earn in a month. 2. Write down your expenses. This is the most important part. Break them into categories: fixed, rent, mortgage, utilities, electricity, water, internet, insurance, fixed loan payments, variable, food, transportation, shopping, entertainment, coffee, gifts, tools. You don't need anything complicated. A notebook and a pen, a simple Excel, Google Sheets file, expense tracking apps on your phone like Sothuchi Misa, Money Lover Spendee, or simplest of all, use your bank's spending report feature if available. And here's the magic of budgeting. You'll start to see financial leaks you never noticed before. Maybe you'll realize you're spending way too much on takeout coffee every day or on small impulse buys you don't really need. From there, you can adjust your spending, cut unnecessary costs, and more importantly, find the extra money to put toward your investing goals. Budgeting is the step that helps you control your money instead of letting money control you. It's like being able to read the map and knowing where you are and where you're headed on your financial journey. Spend a few hours each month doing this, and you'll be amazed at what you discover. After we've got the concrete foundation and the blueprint we need to make sure there aren't any termites quietly eating away at the structure, and that is the strategy to tackle bad, high-interest debt so you can free up resources for investing. This is a huge issue that a lot of young people are facing. We live in an era of credit cards, instant consumer loans, and buy now, pay later offers everywhere. Debt isn't always bad. There's such a thing as good debt, for example, a mortgage with a low interest rate and an asset that appreciates over time, or loans to invest in education and self-development. But there are also debts I call bad debt, and they're the financial termites silently chewing away at your future. What is bad debt? It's usually high-interest debt, like credit card debt, unsecured consumer loans, loan sharks, or installment plans for phones, and motorbikes without collateral but with sky-high interest rates. Why is bad debt the enemy of investing? Imagine this: if you're carrying a credit card balance with an interest rate of 25 to 30% per year, then every dollar you earn is effectively paying tribute to that 25 to 30% first. Let's say you invest in something that earns you 10% a year. On paper, you're making 10%, but in reality, you're losing 15 to 20% because that high-interest debt is eating away your returns. This is reverse compound interest. It doesn't grow your money, it drains it faster. You're moving in the opposite direction of your financial goals. So what's the strategy for handling bad debt? There are two main methods, and you can choose the one that works best for you. 1. The avalanche method. Debt avalanche. List all your debts from highest interest rate to lowest. Focus on paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first, while still making minimum payments on all the others. Once the highest rate debt is gone, take the money you freed up and throw it at the next highest rate debt. Keep going until you're debt-free. Pros: saves you the most in interest over the long run. Cons: it might take longer to see results, which can be discouraging if the highest interest debt also has the biggest balance. 2. The snowball method. Debt snowball. List all your debts from the smallest balance to the largest. Ignore interest rates for now. Focus on paying off the smallest balance first, while still making minimum payments on the others. Once that smallest debt is gone, take the freed up money and roll it onto the next smallest debt. Pros: gives you powerful psychological momentum because you see debts disappear quickly, which builds motivation to tackle the bigger ones. Cons: you might pay a bit more in interest compared to the avalanche method. Personally, I often suggest beginners try the snowball method to get those early small wins and motivation. Then, once you're more comfortable with paying off debt and your cash flow is more stable, you can switch to the avalanche method to optimize interest savings. Remember, tackling bad debt doesn't just free up your money, it frees up your mind. Debt can create a huge amount of stress and anxiety. Once you get rid of it, you'll feel much lighter and more focused, so you can fully concentrate on learning and applying your investing strategies. All right, my friends. Those are the first 3 foundational bricks, the strongest ones for your financial house. 1-point emergency fund, your life jacket for unexpected situations. 2. Simple budgeting. Knowing your cash flow and where your money is going. 3. Handling bad debt. Eliminating the enemy that's secretly eating away at your financial future. I know these steps don't sound as exciting or flashy as talking about which stock to buy or where to invest to 2x or 3x your money. But let me say this one more time, you cannot build a skyscraper on weak soil. Investing only becomes truly effective and safe when you already have a solid personal financial foundation. These are non-negotiable steps, the essential preparation for any wise investor. Start today, don't put it off. Sit down, open your spreadsheet, or grab a notebook and begin building the foundation of your financial house. Every small step you take is a big step toward the financial freedom you've always dreamed of. Once your financial house is solid, once you have an emergency fund, understand your cash flow, and are no longer weighed down by bad debt, that's when we're truly ready to move on to the next chapter, where we'll start exploring how to pour the base and raise the walls for your actual investments. Don't forget to hit like, share this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming chapters. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or if you'd like to share your own journey of building your financial foundation. Hello there, and welcome back to this journey of exploring the world of investing with me. If you've been with me through the first 2 chapters, you might be feeling a bit more excited, or at least a bit less afraid when you think about the word investing, right? In this chapter, we're going to do something that I believe everyone who's just starting out needs to do: build a personal dictionary of their own. I still remember when I first stepped into the financial markets, I felt like I'd wandered into a language maze. There were stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, then bull bear. Just hearing those words made me want to give up. But don't worry, I'm here now. I'm going to explain the most basic core concepts in the simplest way possible, as if we were just sitting down over coffee and chatting. The goal is for you to no longer feel like these terms are distant or intimidating. Are you ready? Let's decode them together. First, let's talk about stocks. probably the word you hear the most when people mention investing. What are stocks? Very simply, when you buy a company's stock, you're buying a small piece of ownership in that company. That's right, you heard that correctly. You become one of the owners, even if only a very small one. Picture this: you really love a coffee shop in your neighborhood called Dream Coffee. The shop is doing great, always packed with customers. The owner wants to open more locations, but needs money. So they decide to split the coffee shop into millions of pieces and sell them. Each piece is a share of stock. When you buy one share of Dream Coffee, you're no longer just a customer. You're officially a tiny co-owner of the shop. If the coffee shop does well, profits go up, and the value of the business increases, then your ownership stake becomes more valuable too. You can sell that piece to someone else for a higher price and make a profit. Sometimes, if the shop earns good profits, they might even share a portion of that profit with you in the form of dividends. On the flip side, if the coffee shop doesn't do well, loses customers, and starts losing money, the value of the business will drop. And of course, your piece of ownership will also lose value. That's the risk. Put simply, buying stocks is like you and your friends putting money together to open a snack shop. If the shop does well, you make money. If it's always empty, you lose money. Pretty easy to understand, right? Next, let's move on to bonds. If stocks are you becoming an owner, then bonds are completely different. When you buy a bond, you're not an owner, you're lending money to a company or a government. Let's go back to our Dream Coffee example. Let's say the owner doesn't want to sell ownership, but only wants to borrow money to buy new equipment. They issue bonds. When you buy their bonds, you're basically lending money to Dream Coffee. In return, they promise to pay you back your original amount at a specific time in the future, and to pay you a fixed interest rate on a regular schedule, for example, once a year. It's like you lending a friend 10 million jong, and that friend promises to pay you back 10 million plus 100,000 in interest every month for a year. At the end of the term, you get the full 10 million principal back. Similarly, governments also issue bonds to raise money to build roads, schools, hospitals. When you buy government bonds, you're lending money to the government. Bonds are often considered less risky than stocks because you have a clear promise about the interest you'll earn and when your principal will be repaid. However, bond returns are usually lower than the potential returns from stocks. The main risk is that the company or government issuing the bond could default and fail to pay you back. Though with government bonds, this is extremely rare. So to sum it up, stocks, are you partnering up in a business? Bonds, are you lending money and collecting interest? That's it. Now let's move on to two types of investments that sound a bit more complicated: mutual funds and ETFs, exchange-traded funds. The names sound fancy, but the concepts are incredibly useful for beginners. Imagine you're at the supermarket buying fruit. You can pick out individual apples, oranges, and grapes one by one. Doing that requires you to know which fruit is good, which season is cheap, how to choose ripe ones. It takes a lot of time and effort, right? Mutual funds and ETFs are like buying a pre-made mixed fruit basket that's already been selected and packaged for you. Instead of having to pick each stock from Apple, Google, Coca-Cola, or each individual government bond yourself, you just buy one slice of that basket. That basket holds lots of different assets, maybe hundreds of stocks, bonds, or other investments that have been selected by financial professionals. The goal is to diversify risk. If one stock in the basket performs poorly, others in the basket may help balance it out. Mutual funds. These are usually managed by a team of professionals. They constantly buy and sell assets inside the fund to try to get the best possible returns for investors. You buy and sell shares of the fund directly through the fund company, usually at the end of each trading day. It's like ordering a buffet that the chef has carefully prepared and serves to you. ETFs, exchange, traded funds. These are also baskets of assets, but they work a bit differently. ETFs are designed to track a specific market index, for example the S&P 500 in the US, which includes 500 of the largest companies. When you buy an ETF that tracks the S&P 500, you're indirectly owning a piece of all 500 of those companies at once. The special thing is that ETFs trade on the stock exchange. Just like regular stocks, you can buy and sell them at any time during market hours. It's like buying a pre-packed combo lunchbox that follows a set recipe, and you can trade that lunchbox instantly with anyone who wants it. In short, both mutual funds and ETFs are great tools for diversifying your portfolio without having to do all the research and picking yourself. They're an excellent starting point for beginners, especially busy people. I remember when I first started, all I cared about were hot stock tickers. But later I realized that funds were the real lifesaver for someone busy like me. And finally, a hugely important concept you must always remember when you step into the investing world: risk and return are inseparable. They're like two sides of the same coin, or more playfully like a shadow and its object. You can't have high returns without accepting a certain level of risk. And on the other hand, if you want absolute safety, your returns will be very modest. Think about it in everyday life. You walk on the sidewalk, it's very safe, but it takes longer to reach your destination. Low risk, low return. In terms of time, you ride a motorbike weaving through traffic to get there faster. You might arrive sooner, higher return, but the risk of bumps or accidents is also higher. Higher risk, higher potential return. You put your money in a savings account. Risk is very low, almost zero, but the interest rate is also low. You buy lottery tickets hoping to hit the jackpot. The potential return is massive, but the chance of winning is tiny, extremely high risk. Investing is the same. Bonds usually carry lower risk, like walking on the sidewalk, so returns are also lower. Stocks carry higher risk, like weaving through traffic on a motorbike, but the potential returns are also much higher. Funds sit somewhere in between, depending on whether they hold more stocks or more bonds. The golden rule here is there's no free lunch. If someone promises you huge returns with zero risk, be extremely cautious. That's almost certainly a trap. What matters is that you truly understand what level of risk you personally can handle. Are you willing to weave through traffic to get there faster, or do you prefer a calm walk to stay safe? This will shape your investing strategy. I've seen plenty of friends chase get-rich-quick schemes by jumping into extremely high-risk investments, and they ended up losing everything. Don't be one of them. So we've just built the first bricks of your own investing dictionary. You now understand. Stocks mean owning a piece of a company. Bonds mean lending money and earning interest. Mutual funds and ETFs are baskets of assets that help you diversify. And most importantly, risk and return always go hand in hand. See, these concepts aren't scary at all. Are they? Once you understand their basic meaning, then the world of investing becomes a lot more approachable. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into why do we need to invest and when is the best time to start. I promise there'll be plenty of interesting insights and some personal perspectives from me as well. Don't forget to like this video. If you found it helpful, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming chapters, and drop a comment below. If you have any questions, I'd really love to chat with you. Thank you for staying with me through this chapter. See you in Chapter 4. If in Chapter 3 we read our own fortune and got to understand our personality and risk appetite better, then today we're really stepping into the big arena, where your money can start to dance, grow, and multiply, or God help us sometimes, just vanish. Are you ready to explore the different paths your money can take? Awesome! Think of this as a rich menu at a high-end restaurant where each dish offers its own flavor and unique experience. Our job today is to skim through that menu. Look at the pros and cons of each dish so you get the clearest possible overview. Remember, This is not financial advice, but rather a compass to help you find your own path. Let's start with a name that almost everyone has heard of, maybe even dreamed of jumping into at least once in their life. The stock market, where billionaire dreams and bankruptcy nightmares walk side by side. When it comes to investing, the stock market is often the first thing that pops into people's minds. It sounds complicated, but at its core, when you buy a stock, you're buying a tiny slice of ownership in some company out there. Imagine you're pitching in, if only a pinky finger's worth, to own Google, Apple, or even a major dairy company in Vietnam. Sounds pretty cool, right? Pros: high potential, attractive returns. This is the sweet candy that draws in so many people. History has shown that developed stock markets can return on average around 7–10% per year, and even more if you pick the right stocks at the right time. High liquidity. You can buy or sell stocks relatively quickly and easily with just a few taps on your phone. Your money isn't stuck for too long. A wide range of choices, from giant tech companies to banks, retail chains, or even renewable energy firms. You can choose to invest in the sectors you understand and believe in, accessible with small amounts of capital. You don't need millions. You can start with a few 100,000 jong or a few million and buy a handful of shares. Cons: matching risk, unpredictable volatility. Yes, this is the double-edged sword. The stock market is famous for its wild swings. Prices can skyrocket or plunge in a single day, week, or month. One bad piece of economic or political news, or even a single tweet from a celebrity, can make your account turn bright red. Requires knowledge and research time. To invest effectively, you need to understand financial statements, analyze industries, and evaluate business potential. Just blindly following stock tips is not a strategy. Emotions get in the way. Fear and greed are the two biggest enemies of stock investors. Do you have the guts not to panic sell when the market drops, or not to chase prices when everyone else is FOMOing fear of missing out? I remember a time when a friend of mine put all his savings into a hot stock based on a tip. The first few days it shot up like crazy, and he was over the moon. Then a nasty rumor spread, and the stock hit limit down multiple sessions in a row. He lost almost all of his money in just 1 week. What's the lesson here? Risk and return are two sides of the same coin, and in the stock market, they walk side by side very clearly. 2. Real estate. Every inch of land is an inch of gold. The choice of stability. Leaving behind the flashing numbers on a screen, we move to a more tangible investment channel, one that feels safer and more solid in the mind of many Vietnamese real estate. Just like the old saying goes, every inch of land is an inch of gold. Pros: long-term value growth. Land is finite, population keeps growing. Over time, real estate values tend to rise, especially in fast urbanizing areas. This is an asset you can pass on to future generations. Generates passive income. If you buy property to rent out a house, apartment, office, or retail space, you can earn a steady stream of monthly or quarterly income. Tangible asset. Unlike stocks, which are just pieces of paper or digital records representing ownership, real estate is something you can see, touch, and walk around in. That brings a certain sense of security. Inflation hedge. During inflationary periods, currency loses value, but real estate often keeps pace with or even outpaces inflation, helping preserve your wealth. Leverage potential. You can borrow from the bank to buy real estate using a smaller amount of your own money to control a much larger asset. If the property value rises, your profit is based on the full value of the property, not just your initial capital. High initial capital. This is the biggest barrier. To own a piece of land or an apartment, you need a significant amount of money, often hundreds of millions to billions of jong. Low liquidity. Selling a property is not like selling a stock. It can take weeks, months, or even longer to find the right buyer. Extra costs. Beyond the purchase price, you've got taxes, brokerage fees, maintenance and repair costs, and sometimes loan interest to worry about. Market and legal risks. Real estate markets are cyclical too. They can freeze or decline. Zoning changes, legal issues and disputes are also potential risks. Requires local knowledge. To invest effectively, you need to understand the area, its planning, and its long-term development potential. A relative of mine once told me how she had saved her whole life to buy a small house in the outskirts. A few years later, the area was rezoned for a major road, and land prices skyrocketed. That little house became not just shelter, but a valuable dowry for her children. But there are also people who bought land in remote areas, hoping to catch the wave of future development, and then ended up holding it for decades without seeing any real price movement. Real estate is a game that demands patience and long-term vision. Third, gold and other commodities. A safe haven or just expensive jewelry? Since ancient times, gold has been a symbol of wealth power and a trusted store of value. Despite all the ups and downs of history, gold has held its special place. Pros: safe haven, shelter in crises. When the global economy is shaky, war breaks out, inflation runs hot, or the stock market tumbles, investors often flock to gold as a safe haven. Gold prices tend to rise during these periods. Inflation hedge. Like real estate, gold maintains its value well in inflationary environments, helping protect your purchasing power. Tangible asset. You can hold it and store it. The feeling of owning something that is truly valuable brings peace of mind. Widely accepted gold has high liquidity and is recognized almost everywhere in the world. Various forms: you can buy gold bars, rings, or even ETFs that invest in gold. Cons: no passive income. Unlike dividend-paying stocks or rental real estate, gold doesn't generate income for you. You only profit if its price goes up and you sell. Storage and insurance. If you hold physical gold, you need to worry about safe storage and may have to pay for a safe deposit box. Price driven by many factors. Gold prices are affected by interest rates, central bank policies, geopolitical events, and market sentiment. Sometimes quite volatile. Although seen as safe, gold prices can still swing significantly in the short term. Other commodities beyond gold. Or you can invest in silver, oil, agricultural products, and more. But these come with their own complexities and higher risks, often more suitable for professional investors. My grandmother used to say, "If you've got gold, you've got something put away." In her time, gold was the most prized asset, easy to trade, and able to hold its value through chaotic periods. Today, gold is still a reasonable option for diversifying your portfolio, but don't put all your eggs in the gold basket unless your only goal is simply to store value rather than grow it. EV. Cryptocurrency, crypto. The 21st century playground, paradise, or minefield. Narrator. And finally, we arrive at the most controversial, fascinating, and probably the spiciest dish on today's menu. Cryptocurrency, or crypto. From Bitcoin and Ethereum to thousands of other coins, is this world a technological revolution or a gigantic financial bubble? Pros: new asset class with explosive growth potential, skyrocketing returns. This is the main attraction. We've seen Bitcoin go from pennies to tens of thousands of dollars, and Ethereum multiply thousands of %. The possibility of making X times your money in a short period is very real. Breakthrough technology. Cryptocurrencies are built on blockchain technology, which has the potential to transform many industries. Investing in crypto can be seen as investing in the future of technology. Decentralization, not controlled by governments or central banks, which brings a certain level of freedom and transparency. High liquidity for some coins. Major coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum can be traded 24/7 across the globe. Cons: extreme volatility, massive risk. Insane volatility. This is not a market for the faint of heart. A coin's price can jump 50% in one day and drop 30% the next. Seeing your portfolio cut into pieces is not unusual. Regulatory uncertainty. Many countries are still trying to figure out how to regulate crypto, which creates legal and policy risks, including potential bans. Security and scam risks. Exchanges can be hacked, and you can fall victim to scam projects. Rug pulls, Ponzi schemes disguised as crypto projects. Complexity. Understanding blockchain tokenomics and evaluating a crypto project's real potential requires a lot of technical knowledge and research. Highly speculative. Most people in the crypto market today are still speculating, trying to get rich quick, rather than investing based on real technological value. I have a friend who bought Bitcoin very early and became a millionaire in just a few years. But I also know people who completely blew up their accounts chasing obscure coins and believing in outrageous promises. Crypto is like a wild tropical jungle full of hidden treasures, but also full of deadly traps. If you decide to step in, arm yourself with solid knowledge and only invest what you can afford to lose. So there you have it, my friends. We've just taken a quick tour through 4 major playgrounds in the investing world. The stock market with high potential and high risk. Real estate offering stability and passive income, but requiring large capital. Gold and other commodities as safe havens. And cryptocurrency, a new frontier full of promise and danger. Each investment channel has its own story, its bright side and its dark side. There is no single best dish that works for everyone. What matters is that you explore, learn, and listen to yourself. Are you someone who loves risk and wants to get rich quickly? Stocks or crypto might appeal to you. Do you prefer stability, safety, and a long-term view? Real estate or gold might fit you better. Are you willing to spend time researching and watching the markets every day? Or do you want to just put your money somewhere and mostly forget about it? Always remember, diversifying your portfolio, meaning not putting all your eggs in one basket, is a smart strategy to reduce risk. By now, you probably have a general picture and are starting to sense your own investing taste, right? In the upcoming chapters, we'll dive deeper into each investment channel. Explore how you can get started, what tools you'll need, and which mistakes you should avoid. Thank you for sticking with me through Chapter 4. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episodes. I'll see you in Chapter 5, where we'll start building an investment strategy based on everything we've learned so far. Hello there, and welcome back to our book, How to Invest Money. Kach Jiao Tu Tien. If in the previous chapters we laid the foundation and built the very first bricks of a solid personal finance journey together, then today I'm going to introduce you to a companion, an investment tool that's often called the best friend of new investors, and even of many seasoned ones, index funds and ETFs. Welcome to Chapter 5, The Investor's Best Friend, Index Funds. The goal of this chapter is very simple. We're going to dig into why index funds are such a great starting choice for almost everyone, especially those who are just taking their first steps into this big, wide world of investing. So what exactly is an index fund? And why does it get mentioned so often? Picture this. When you go to the market, instead of carefully picking each apple, each orange, each banana, fussing over which one is the best, which one will last the longest, you decide to buy a mixed fruit basket that the seller has already selected for you with a nice balance of fresh, tasty fruits. That's basically how an index fund works. Instead of stressing over which stock will be a winner, which company will outperform in the future, an index fund does something much simpler. It buys all the stocks in a specific basket, a particular index. That index might be the S&P 500 in the US, which represents the 500 largest and most influential companies in the U.S. stock market. Or in Vietnam, we have the VN30, which represents the 30 leading companies listed on the HOSE exchange. In other words, when you invest in an index fund, you're buying a big slice of the entire market, instead of trying to pick out the tastiest slice yourself. You're betting on the economy as a whole, on the overall growth of leading businesses, not on the fate of just a handful of specific names. Sounds a lot less stressful, doesn't it? And this is where we start talking about the golden benefits that index funds bring, benefits that make them a top choice for so many people. The first benefit, and also the most important, is instant diversification. Do you remember how I emphasized the importance of not putting all your eggs in one basket? With index funds, almost instantly, you become a part owner of many of the strongest, best companies in the market. Think about it. If you tried to buy each stock individually, how much money would you need to own shares in 30 or 500 different companies? And how much time would it take to research each one? A lot, right? With an index fund, you just make one single trade, and you get a level of diversification that if you did it yourself might take years and a ton of money. You no longer have to worry that if one company goes bankrupt, you'll lose everything, because you own dozens or even hundreds of different stocks. Your risk is spread out, which makes your portfolio much more stable. Second, and also very appealing, is low cost. Unlike actively managed funds with teams of analysts working day and night, constantly researching, analyzing, and trading in hopes of beating the market, earning higher returns than the market average, index funds follow a simple predefined rule: just track the index. If the VN30 changes, they adjust accordingly. If the S&P 500 is updated, they automatically update their holdings too. This significantly cuts down on management costs, which in turn boosts your long-term returns. Index funds often charge management fees of only about 0.1% to 0.5% per year, while actively managed funds can cost 1.5% to 2% or more. That may not sound like much, but over many years, that small difference can turn into a huge amount of money. This is a massive advantage, especially for new investors or anyone who wants a hands-off investment approach that's still effective. To prove the power of index funds, I want to share a true story involving one of the greatest investors of all time, Warren Buffett. In 2007, Buffett made a $1 million bet that over the next 10 years, a low-cost S&P 500 index fund would outperform a group of hedge funds run by some of the brightest financial minds on Wall Street. These hedge funds were supposedly capable of beating the market using complex strategies and top-tier stock-picking skills. The result: after 10 years from 2008 to 2017, the S&P 500 index fund produced a cumulative return of 125.8%, while the hedge fund group returned an average of only 36.3% after fees. A crushing victory. Even one of the best investors in the world believes that for the vast majority of people, simply buying the whole market through an index fund is a much wiser choice than trying to beat it. He even advised his wife that after he passes away, she should put 90% of her money into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. That's a recommendation that really doesn't leave much room for argument. So how do you get started with index funds? Most investors access index funds through ETFs, exchange-traded funds. ETFs work very similarly to traditional index funds, but with one incredibly convenient difference: they trade on an exchange just like stocks. You can buy and sell them anytime during market hours, and their prices move with the market just like regular stock tickers. Right now, the U.S. market has a wide range of ETFs that track major popular and stable indices such as VOO. Vanguard S&P 500 ETF tracks the S&P 500, holding the 500 largest U.S. companies. This is a classic choice for any long-term investor. VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, covers the entire U.S. stock market from large cap to mid cap to small cap. A fantastic choice if you want maximum diversification with just one ETF. QQQ, Invesco Nasdaq 100 ETF follows the 100 largest companies on the Nasdaq, very tech-heavy, with names like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia. Great if you believe in the future of tech. SCHD, Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, ideal for dividend lovers. This ETF tracks stocks with stable and growing dividends. You can buy these ETFs very easily through popular U.S. brokerages like Robinhood, Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, E-Trade. All with just a few taps on your phone. Just type the ETF ticker into the search bar, hit buy or sell, and you're done. It's not much more complicated than ordering a Starbucks. In short, index funds are powerful, simple, and effective tools. They bring you instant diversification, low costs, and have been proven to be a winning investment strategy for most people, including complete beginners. Don't assume investing has to be complicated. Sometimes the simplest approach delivers the best results. If you're still unsure where to start, index funds are a trustworthy companion to kick off your financial journey. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into building your very first investment portfolio, combining everything you've learned to create a solid financial plan that truly fits you. Thank you for listening. See you in the next chapter. Welcome back to the How to Invest Money series. I'm your host. And I'm genuinely excited that we've made it to this chapter together. If in the previous chapters we laid the foundation of knowledge from understanding the nature of investing, how to set financial goals, all the way to grasping the basic principles, then today we're going to turn theory into action. This is the moment where we open the very first door that leads you into the real world of investing. I still remember how I felt the first time I took this step, a bit nervous, a bit anxious, but above all, incredibly excited, knowing I was about to start building my financial future with my own hands. In Chapter 6, Opening the First Door, How to Set Up Your Account, we're going to walk through each specific practical step so you can open a brokerage account and place your very first trade. Get ready, because this is going to be a chapter packed with real-world value. All right, the very first step, and also one of the most important decisions, is this choosing a reputable brokerage firm. Think of it this way. A brokerage firm is like a bank, but instead of primarily holding cash and making loans, they act as the bridge that helps you buy and sell investment assets, like stocks, bonds, and fund units. You'll be depositing money here to trade, so choosing where to send your gold is incredibly important. So what should we be looking for in a brokerage firm? 1. Reputation and safety. This is the number one factor. Choose firms that have been operating for a long time, are licensed, and are regulated by the proper authorities in the country where you live. For example, in Vietnam, that would be the State Securities Commission. You can read reviews, check rankings, and ask people with experience. A reputable firm will ensure that your assets are protected in accordance with the law. 2. Trading fees. Each firm has its own fee schedule. Trading fees, also called commissions, are what you pay each time you buy or sell. There may also be account maintenance fees, withdrawal fees, etc. Compare them carefully. For new investors, I recommend looking for firms with competitive fees, especially for the products you're most interested in. Don't let fees eat away your returns, especially when your initial capital is still small. 3. Trading platform. This is the interface you'll use to place your orders. It can be a mobile app, desktop software, or a website. A good platform should be easy to use, intuitive, have all the features you need, like charts, order placement, portfolio management, and most importantly, be stable and reliable when the market is volatile. Try out a demo version if available before you decide. Personally, I like platforms that are cleanly designed, not overloaded with distracting information, but still provide all the data I need. 4. Range of products. What do you want to invest in? Vietnamese stocks, global ETF fund units, bonds, Other asset classes. Make sure the brokerage you choose offers the types of investments you are currently interested in and may want to explore in the future. 5. Customer support. When you run into issues or have questions, you need a responsive professional support team. Check what support channels they offer: phone, email, live chat, and how fast they respond. This is very important, especially for beginners. After doing your research and comparisons, pick 1 or 2 firms that you feel you can trust and get ready for the next step. All right, you've chosen a brokerage that suits you great. The next step is to open an online trading account. Sounds very high finance, right? But in reality, in the US, this process has become super fast and convenient. You can open an account right from home using just your phone or laptop. Here's the basic process. 1. Prepare your documents. You only need a few simple pieces of information: Social Security number, SSN, driver's license or state ID, bank account information for deposits and withdrawals later. That's it. No need to bring a thick stack of paperwork like in the old days. 2. Go to the broker's website or app. Visit the official website of firms like Robinhood, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, E-Trade, or download their apps. Look for the Open an Account or Sign Up button. 3. Fill in your personal information. You'll be asked to provide full legal name, date of birth, residential address, email and phone number, employment status. Just enter your real information as it is. 4. Verify your identity. This is the most important step. Most brokers use eKYC just like banks. Take photos of the front and back of your driver's license or ID. Take a selfie for facial verification. Sometimes they'll ask you to turn your head left and right or record a short video. Just follow the instructions. As long as the lighting is good and your face is clear, you'll be fine. 5. Enter financial info and investing experience. Don't stress about this. Everyone was new at some point. The broker will ask about your approximate income, estimated net worth, investment goals, whether you've invested before. Answer honestly. Their goal is to make sure the products you access are suitable for you, not to judge you. 6. Read and sign agreements. In the US, every broker has a set of disclosures: account opening agreement, rights and responsibilities, fee policies, investor protection information. You'll sign electronically by entering a code or checking agreement boxes. Submit and wait for approval. After you submit your application, the system will review and approve it. Sometimes it takes a few minutes, other times a few hours. When you're approved, you'll get an email or text with your login information. Congratulations, you now officially have your own brokerage account. Feels pretty grown up, doesn't it? Like you've just opened the door to the real financial world. Your account is ready. Now it's time to deposit money and place your very first ETF order. This is the moment every new investor looks forward to. 1. Deposit funds into your account. After logging into your account on the broker's app or website, follow these steps. Look for deposit or transfer funds. Link your bank account. Bank account linking. Major brokers like Robinhood, Fidelity, Schwab let you connect directly to your checking or savings account. You can choose ACH transfer free, usually 1-2 days. Wire transfer faster, but there's a fee. After you submit your deposit, the money might appear in your account immediately as instant buying power, depending on the platform, or within 1 to 2 business days. Once your balance is ready, it's time for your very first strike. 2. Place your first ETF order. ETFs are a perfect choice for beginners because they're low-cost, diversified, and very easy to trade. Step 1. Find the ETF ticker. In your broker's search bar, type the ticker of the ETF you want to buy, for example. VO, S&P 500, VTI Total US Stock Market, QQQ Nasdaq 100, Tech Heavy, SCHD Popular Dividend-Focused ETF. Step 2. Choose the order type. 1. Market order. Buys immediately at the best available price. Easiest and fastest option for beginners. 2. Limit order. You set the maximum price you're willing to pay. The order only fills if the market reaches that price. For example, the ETF is at $200. You only want to buy if it drops to $198. So you set a limit order at $198. Tip for beginners: start with a market order so your first trade goes through right away and you get to experience what it feels like to buy your first ETF. Step 3. Enter the amount. You can either enter the number of ETF shares you want to buy or enter a dollar amount. Many U.S. brokers now allow fractional share purchases. For example, you can start with just $10. Step 4. Double-check your order before hitting Buy Review. ETF ticker, order type, number of shares or dollar amount, estimated price. Step 5. Hit Submit and wait for execution. With a market order, your trade will be executed immediately. You can check under your portfolio section to see your very first ETF officially on your team. Congratulations! You've just completed the very first trade of your life. This feels pretty special, doesn't it? Like you've officially entered the real world of investing. But hold on, there's one extremely important thing: fees. Fees can quietly eat away at your returns if you don't pay attention. Here are the most common fees in the U.S. markets. 1. Commission fee, trading fee. The good news? Most major U.S. brokers now offer zero commission trading for stocks and ETFs. Some specialty services like options trading may still have fees. 2. Account maintenance fee. Most brokers don't charge this. Certain specialty accounts, like some IRAs or advisory accounts, might. 3. ETF expense ratio. This is the fund's operating fee taken directly out of the ETF's value on an annual basis. For example, if an ETF has an expense ratio of 0.05% and you invest $10,000, you're only paying $5 per year. Low-cost ETFs like VO and VTI typically have expense ratios in the 0.03–0.05% range, extremely cheap. 4. Withdrawal or transfer fees. ACH transfers are usually free. Wire transfers can cost around $10–30. If you transfer your entire account to another broker, there might be a fee of $50–75. The most important advice: always read your broker's fee schedule before you start trading. A reputable broker will disclose fees clearly and transparently. So we've just gone through the entire process of opening an account and placing your very first trade. I understand that the first time can feel overwhelming. There's a lot of new information and concepts to take in. But remember, every journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And today, you've taken that crucial first step. You've overcome the biggest psychological barrier, that hesitation and fear of stepping into a new field. Now you are officially part of the investing community. Congratulations once again. Don't worry if you feel like you don't fully understand everything yet. Investing is a continuous learning journey. What matters is that you've started. Keep learning, keep experiencing, and the knowledge will slowly sink in. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into how to analyze different types of assets so you can feel more confident making smart investment decisions. Don't forget to like this video. If you found it helpful, share it with friends who also want to start their investing journey, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming chapters. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next chapter of How to Invest Money. Welcome back to the channel. I'm WealthRise Stories, and if in the previous chapters we explored the basic foundations of investing together, then today we're going to dive into a philosophy that can completely change the way you look at personal finance, the turtle strategy. This is our Chapter 7 titled, The Turtle Strategy. Slow but steady. Sounds a little backward, doesn't it? In a world where everyone is talking about getting rich fast, taking profit at the top, or finding the next super stock, why are we talking about a turtle, an animal that symbolizes slowness? But, in the famous fable, it's the turtle who wins in the end. And in investing, this philosophy is even more true. Our goal today is very clear. We're going to introduce a long-term investing strategy that emphasizes patience and discipline instead of trying to beat the market quickly. Let's get into the details. 1. Explaining dollar cost averaging, DCA, investing a fixed amount regularly. So, what exactly is this slow but steady strategy? One of its key pillars is dollar cost averaging DCA. It sounds a bit technical, but it's actually incredibly simple. Instead of trying to guess where the bottom of the market is so you can dump a big lump sum in at once, DCA suggests you do the opposite. Invest a fixed amount of money regularly on a set schedule, maybe every week, every 2 weeks, or every month. Picture this. You go to Costco to buy rice or some staple food you use every month. If you just sit around waiting for the single cheapest day of the year to buy 100 pounds at once, you might be waiting forever, and you might run into the risk of it being out of stock when you need it. But if every month you simply buy 10 pounds consistently, whether the price is a bit higher or a bit lower that day, you'll always have enough to use. You don't have to stress about price, and you don't have to chase sales. Investing works exactly the same way. Every month, whether the market is surging or bleeding red, you set aside a fixed amount, say $200, $300 a month, to buy ETFs or high-quality stocks you've already researched and believe in. And here's the magic of dollar cost averaging. When prices are low, you buy more units. When prices are high, you buy fewer units. Over time, your average purchase price gets smoothed out. You greatly reduce the risk of buying at the very top. Most importantly, it takes emotion out of the equation. Emotion is the biggest enemy of investors. No more lying awake at night wondering, should I buy today or wait until tomorrow in case it drops? You just set up an automatic investment plan and let the system handle the boring part for you. This is the turtle's first steady step, slow but sure, and always winning the long game. 2. Why trying to time the top and bottom of the market is almost impossible and unnecessary. When it comes to calling tops and bottoms, I know that's the dream of many new investors, and even a lot of experienced ones. Who wouldn't want to buy at the absolute bottom and sell at the absolute top to maximize profit, right? But the harsh truth is, even the top financial experts in the world, with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of tools and data, rarely manage to do this consistently. It's like trying to catch a fish with your bare hands in the middle of the ocean when you have no idea which direction it's going to swim or where it will pop up next. The financial market is an incredibly complex system influenced by a huge number of factors: macroeconomics, monetary policy, investor sentiment, world news, and even completely unforeseen events. Trying to time the market doesn't just drain your energy, it also carries serious risk. You can easily miss some of the best growth days in the market because you were sitting on the sidelines waiting for that perfect moment. Statistics show that if you miss just a handful of the market's best days over a decade, your long-term returns can drop dramatically. This has been proven over and over again in many studies. So remember this mantra: time in the market matters more than timing the market. Don't try to be the rabbit that sprints ahead only to burn out and miss the race. Be the turtle, slow, steady, and always moving forward no matter how bumpy the road gets. 3. The importance of reinvesting dividends to maximize the power of compounding. Now, let's talk about another secret weapon that helps the turtle strategy really unleash its full-power dividend reinvestment. When you own shares of a profitable company, sometimes that company will share a portion of its profits with shareholders in the form of dividends. Think of it as a small bonus you receive periodically. The real magic happens when you don't withdraw those dividends to spend, but instead use them to buy more shares of that same company or other investments in your portfolio. This is where the power of compound interest, or interest earning interest, comes into play. Imagine this: you plant a tree. During harvest season, the tree gives you its first batch of fruit. If you eat all the fruit, you still just have one tree. But if you use some of that fruit to collect seeds and plant more trees, then after a few seasons, you'll have an entire garden full of fruit-bearing trees. Investing works the same way. Those small dividend payments you receive when reinvested buy more shares. Those new shares then generate their own dividends. Those dividends buy even more shares. Over time, your wealth grows exponentially, like a small snowball rolling downhill, picking up more and more snow, getting bigger and bigger, in a way that feels almost unbelievable. This is exactly what Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time, has applied and stuck with for decades. Those tiny amounts, given enough time, can accumulate into a substantial fortune you might never have imagined. It demands patience, but the reward is absolutely worth it. 4. Think in decades, not days. Everything we just talked about, from DCA to reinvesting dividends, revolves around one core mindset. Think about investing in terms of decades, not days. The market can be very volatile in the short term. Up today, down tomorrow. Up 5% this week, down 3% next week. Those swings can easily make us anxious, scared, and driven to make emotional decisions. But if you look at the 50-year or 100-year chart of major indices like the S&P 500, you'll see one clear thing: the long-term trend is always up. Great companies don't become great by accident. They grow, innovate, overcome crises, and continually create value. When you invest in solid companies or in the whole market through ETFs, you're placing your trust in economic growth, in human creativity. That kind of trust takes time to be rewarded. Investing is not a quick chess match, it's a marathon. You don't need to obsess over the market going up or down 1% each day. What you need to care about is whether the businesses you invest in are growing, generating profits, and have strong potential over the next 5, 10, or even 20 years. Patience and discipline are the keys that unlock sustainable prosperity. They're not flashy like the promises of get rich quick, but they are the sure path that has been proven over time across generations of successful investors. Give your investments time to do their job, to let compounding work its magic. So there you have it. The turtle strategy is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It requires you to have faith in yourself, in the future, and in the power of persistence. You don't need to be a financial genius or have any secret insider information. You just need the discipline to invest consistently, the patience to stick with your portfolio through the market's ups and downs, and the wisdom to reinvest what you earn. Trust in the power of time, consistency, and discipline. Those slow, steady steps will take you to a safer, more prosperous destination than any reckless sprint ever could. In the next chapter, we'll explore risk management in investing, how to protect our turtle from the dangers along the racetrack. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, slow but steady persistence wins. Welcome back to our channel. I'm WealthRise Stories, and today we're going to dive into an aspect that a lot of people tend to overlook, but it's actually one of the key factors that determines whether you succeed or fail in the financial markets. That's right, I'm talking about investment psychology. On this journey through the book, How to Invest Money, after breaking down all the numbers, charts, and dry strategies, this chapter 8, a steady mindset. The real winner in the market will be the final piece of the puzzle, but also the strongest foundation for your investor house. You can be a math genius, you can master fundamental or technical analysis, but if you can't control your emotions, all of that knowledge can become meaningless. So let's take a moment to carefully prepare the guide for this journey, and that guide is you yourself. 1. Facing fear when the market drops. Is this an opportunity or a disaster? Picture this. You wake up one morning, pick up your phone, and see every financial news channel screaming about a major market crash. The indices are blazing red, and the stocks you're holding are down 5%, 10%, maybe even more just overnight. Friends and co-workers start to panic, whispering to each other about crisis and bubble burst. What is the natural human reaction? Sell immediately before it drops any further. That's the voice of primal fear, the voice telling us to run away from danger. It pushes you toward dumping your holdings, and locking in what was previously just an unrealized loss into a very real one. But hold on a second. If you've ever read stories about great investors, you'll notice something strange. Not only do they not run away, they often smile. Warren Buffett has a famous quote, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful." That's not just a catchy slogan, it's a compass for contrarian thinking in investing. When the market goes down, what is it really? It's a massive sale. Imagine you really love a high-end jacket but think it's too expensive. Then one day the store announces a 30% or 50% discount. What do? You're probably thrilled and go buy it, right? The stock market works the same way. When strong, fundamentally sound companies with solid operations suddenly get priced below their true value purely because the crowd is panicking, that's your golden opportunity to buy high-quality assets at a discount. The key is having a long-term vision and a clear plan. Fear will try to convince you that this time is different. Don't listen to it. History has proven that markets recover and grow over time. Instead of panicking, have some dry powder ready, so that when prices drop on assets you've thoroughly researched and genuinely believe in, you can buy the dip calmly and confidently. 2. Resisting greed when the market is booming. Avoiding FOMO, fear of missing out. If fear is an icy cold wind, then greed is a blazing fire. When the market is going up day after day, everything is green, friends and family, and even people you never thought would invest start bragging about how they made huge profits in just a few weeks. The media is flooded with stories about hot stock A or the crazy gains from crypto coin B. What feeling creeps in? That's FOMO, fear of missing out. You start asking yourself, am I missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime chance to get rich quick? Should I jump in right now at any price? Greed awakens, pushing you to act, to chase the train, even though it's already far down the track and maybe heading straight toward a cliff. FOMO makes us do irrational things, buying into assets we don't understand at all, just because everyone else is making money. Investing more than we can afford to lose. Throwing out all of our basic investing principles just to avoid feeling left behind. What's the outcome? Most of the time, when FOMO reaches its peak and you finally decide to jump in, that's also when the market is near its top. You buy at the highest price, and then, as it always does, the market corrects, or even crashes. You become the last person to join the party, and the one stuck cleaning up the mess afterward. So how do you fight greed and FOMO? Discipline is gold. Always stick to your original investment plan. If you've set return targets and a risk tolerance level, honor them. Don't follow the herd. The crowd rarely wins in the market. The best investment decisions are usually made in quiet based on careful analysis, not in the noise and hype. Remember intrinsic value. Keep asking yourself, is this company or asset really worth its current price? Don't buy just because the price is going up. Be realistic about returns. There's no free lunch. Unrealistically high returns almost always come with equally high risks. 3. The importance of understanding your own risk tolerance. So, how do you avoid these psychological traps, neither panicking when the market falls, nor getting overly euphoric when it rises? The key lies in understanding your own risk tolerance. This is not a question you can answer overnight. It requires deep self-reflection, honesty, and a clear understanding of your personal financial situation. Ask yourself these questions. Can you sleep at night if your portfolio drops 10%, 20%, or even 30%? Or will you lie awake stressed out and eventually panic sell? What are your investment goals? Are you investing for retirement 30 years from now or to buy a house in 5 years? The longer your time horizon, the more risk you can generally afford, because you have more time for the market to recover. Do you have stable income and a sufficient emergency fund? If not, taking on high risk could put you in a tough spot when you suddenly need cash. What's your personality like? Are you more of a thrill seeker, or do you prefer safety and stability? There is no absolute right or wrong answer when it comes to risk tolerance. A young single person with stable income and few financial obligations can typically afford to take on more risk in pursuit of higher returns. On the other hand, someone nearing retirement with a family and a lot of fixed expenses should lean more towards safety and capital preservation. Understanding your risk tolerance helps you build a portfolio that truly fits you. Once you know how much volatility you can handle, the fear when markets drop becomes more manageable. And the greed when markets rise becomes easier to control. You won't be shaken by short-term swings because you've already prepared yourself mentally for them. This is your strongest shield against emotional decision-making. 4. Why the most boring investors are often the most successful. Here's a fascinating paradox I really want to share, and it ties everything we've discussed about psychology together. The most boring investors are often the most successful ones. When I say boring, I'm not talking about your personality, I'm talking about your investing style. A boring investor is someone who doesn't chase hot news or hyped-up stocks on social media, doesn't trade constantly trying to score quick wins, doesn't brag about massive gains overnight, patiently invests in low-cost index funds, diversifying widely, practices dollar-cost averaging, buying regularly whether the market is up or down without trying to buy the bottom or sell the top, rebalances their portfolio periodically to maintain their target asset allocation, and most importantly, they wait patiently. Why do these investors tend to succeed? They understand compound growth. Compounding needs time to work its magic. By not meddling too much, they allow their investments to grow over many years, even decades. They avoid most emotional mistakes. Since they don't get swept up in news cycles or hype, they're less likely to panic sell during crashes or chase rallies at the top. They minimize costs. Frequent trading racks up fees and taxes. Low-cost index funds help them keep more of their returns. They accept that no one can predict the market consistently. Instead of trying to do the impossible, they focus on owning a small piece of the global economy and trusting in long-term growth. When I say boring, I want you to picture a farmer planting seeds, tending to the crops every day, not rushing the harvest, patiently waiting for the right season. The process may not be as thrilling or dramatic as viral startup stories or aggressive day trading tales, but their results are solid and sustainable. This is the pinnacle of psychological control. When you can tune out market noise, stick to your strategy, and accept that real success takes time, you hold the key to becoming a true long-term winner. In the end, in the investing game, your biggest enemy isn't the market, it's yourself. Fear and greed are the two strongest emotions that can throw you off course. To become a successful investor, you don't need to be a genius, but you must be disciplined and deeply self-aware. How to Invest Money wants to remind us that beyond learning about finance and economics, building a strong, steady mindset is an invaluable asset. Take the time to understand yourself, define your risk tolerance, and commit to the investing principles you've set. When you can do that, you won't just win in the market, you'll also win over yourself. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss more useful content. I'll see you in the next chapter. Welcome back to How to Invest Money, and we're now at Chapter 9. A critically important chapter that I really want you to pay close attention to: common pitfalls new investors must avoid. On this investing journey, knowing how to make money is one thing, but knowing how to not lose money unnecessarily is a completely different story. And just as important, if not more. For beginners, The financial markets can feel like an enchanting jungle full of opportunities, but also full of hidden dangers. We often see the loud success stories and forget that plenty of people have stumbled over invisible rocks along the way. The goal of this chapter is not to scare you, but to give you a compass and a warning map to help you recognize and avoid the most common mistakes new investors tend to make. Let's walk through each pitfall together. Pitfall number 1. Putting all your eggs in one basket. Lack of diversification. This is an old saying, but it's still as true as the first day someone said it. Never put all your eggs in one basket. Picture this: you gather all your precious eggs into a single basket, and by bad luck, that basket gets dropped. What happens? Exactly, you lose everything. Investing is the same way. Putting all your eggs in one basket means concentrating all your investment money in just one asset class, one single stock, one single industry, or even just one market. A lot of new investors, especially after hearing some hot tip about a can't-miss stock or a sector that's about to explode, end up going all in. What happens then? If that stock or sector runs into trouble, a negative news event, a policy change, or even a natural disaster, your entire investment can evaporate very quickly. Your risk in that situation is basically 100%. The solution is diversification. Diversification isn't a complicated strategy. It simply means spreading your investments across different channels, different asset classes, different sectors, and different companies. You might hold shares of several companies in different industries. Or you might allocate a portion to stocks, a portion to bonds, and a portion to index funds or ETFs tools that are already diversified for you. The goal of diversification is to reduce your overall risk. When one investment struggles, others may still be doing fine, helping balance your portfolio. It's like having several smaller baskets of eggs. If one basket falls, you still have others that are safe. Always remember, this diversification is your best friend when it comes to risk management. Pitfall number 2. Investing based on rumors and the crowd. Have you ever heard something like, "Hey, I just heard stock XYZ is about to skyrocket, buy it now," or "Everyone's piling into this, don't miss out"? That's our second pitfall: investing based on rumors, overheard hot tips, or blindly following the crowd. The investing world, especially the stock market, is full of stories like that. New investors are particularly vulnerable to getting swept up in unverified information, in advice from friends, relatives, or even total strangers on online forums. FOMO, fear of missing out, is a powerful force. It pushes us to act quickly, often without thinking things through. What's the problem? Usually by the time a tip reaches you, a new retail investor, the professionals, the sharks in the market have probably known about it and acted long before. By the time you buy, the price may already be near its peak, and you're the one left holding the bag while they start taking profits. Investing is not a race to see who hears the news first. Effective investing is built on research analysis and your own independent assessment of an asset's or company's real value. You need to look into financial statements, business models, growth potential, and relevant macroeconomic factors yourself. Ask yourself, why am I buying this stock? What is my basis? If your answer is, because my friend said it's good, or because everyone's buying it, that's a huge red flag. Get out of the herd mentality. In the short term, markets can be driven by emotion, but in the long term, true value always speaks. Pitfall number 3. Panic selling when the market drops. This is one of the most costly and common mistakes, especially for beginners. Financial markets never move in a straight line up. There will always be periods of strong volatility when asset prices fall, sometimes sharply. This is completely normal and an unavoidable part of market cycles. When the market is on fire in red, feelings of fear, anxiety, and even panic can easily take over. You see the value of your portfolio dropping day by day, hour by hour, and one thought flashes through your mind. I have to sell now to stop the bleeding. And that's the trap. Panic selling during a downturn often leads to what we call selling at the bottom, getting rid of assets when they're at or near their lowest point. Later, when the market recovers, you're stuck on the sidelines and may end up buying back in at a higher price or worse. You stay out altogether and miss the recovery. The result, you've turned a temporary paper loss into a permanent loss and then missed your chance to benefit from the rebound. Remember, for high-quality investments that you've chosen, carefully market downturns are usually temporary. History shows that major markets have a long-term upward trend despite crises and recessions. So how do you avoid this pitfall? First, mentally prepare for volatility. Understand that bad days in the market are normal. Second, keep a long-term perspective. If you're investing for 5 to 10 or more years, short-term swings become much less frightening. Third, instead of panicking, consider whether this might actually be a chance to buy more of good assets at sale prices. The principle of successful investors is buy low, sell high, not buy high, sell low. Don't let emotions override your rational thinking in tough times. Stay calm, be patient, and stick to the long-term investment plan you set from the beginning. Pitfall number 4. Paying too many unnecessary fees. The last mistake we'll talk about today, and one that's often most overlooked by beginners, is paying too many unnecessary fees. It may sound minor, but these fees can quietly eat away at your returns over time, especially in the long run. Investment-related fees can include brokerage, trading fees, the commission you pay your broker every time you buy or sell. These days, many platforms have reduced or eliminated these fees for basic stock trades, but they still exist in some places or for more complex products. Fund management fees, expense ratio. If you invest in mutual funds or ETFs, you'll pay an annual management fee, usually as a percentage of the total you have in the fund. This can range from as low as 0.03% to over 2% per year. Advisory fees. If you work with a financial advisor, they may charge a fee based on a percentage of assets they manage for you or a flat fee. Other hidden fees. Some platforms or investment products may have account maintenance fees, withdrawal fees, transfer fees, and so on. You might think 1% or 2% per year doesn't matter. But let's do a simple thought experiment. Say you invest 100 million VND and earn an average of 7% per year. If you pay a 1% management fee, your real return is only 6%. Over 10 years, that difference can add up to tens of millions of VND. Over 20 to 30 years, thanks to compounding it, can mean hundreds of millions. How do you avoid this trap? Know your fees. Before investing in any product, read the documents carefully and find out exactly what fees you'll be paying. Don't hesitate to ask your broker or advisor. Choose low-cost products. Look for index funds or ETFs with low expense ratios. They're often far cheaper than actively managed funds. Use competitive brokerage platforms. Nowadays, there are many online brokers offering very low-cost or even zero-cost trading for certain types of transactions. Don't let small avoidable fees quietly erode the returns you work so hard to earn. Every dollar you save on fees is a dollar you keep as profit. So we've just gone through 4 of the most common pitfalls. New investors tend to fall into lack of diversification, investing based on rumors, panic selling in downturns, and paying too many unnecessary fees. Each of these mistakes isn't just a potential risk, it's also a valuable lesson. By understanding them and actively avoiding them, you're giving yourself a much stronger shield on your investing journey. Remember, successful investing is not about discovering some magical secret or finding a single golden stock. It's about a disciplined, patient process, built on knowledge and understanding. Learn from other people's mistakes so you don't have to pay for them yourself. In the next chapter, we'll explore the core principles that help you build a sustainable, effective investment strategy. Don't miss it. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Welcome back to my channel. If you've been with us from the beginning, chances are by now you've built a solid foundation for how to invest your money. We've walked through the basic principles, how to create a financial plan, and the first investment tools you can use, and the importance of diversification. And today, in Chapter 10, I want to take you to the next level, not with some magical secrets, but with the next steps, the doors you can begin to open once you feel more confident on this journey. We're going to talk about continuous growth, staying up to date, and even how to invest in yourself. Because trust me, the investing journey never really ends. It's a marathon, not a sprint. 1. When should you clean up your portfolio? Rebalancing. So once you have a portfolio in place, the next question is, when should we tidy it up a bit? Also known as rebalancing. Think of your portfolio like a garden. At the beginning, you plant different types of plants in certain proportions, fruit trees, ornamental plants, vegetables based on your preferences and goals. But over time, some plants will grow faster and take up more space, while others grow more slowly. The result, your garden no longer looks like the layout you originally intended. Investing works the same way. When you started, you allocated your assets according to a certain ratio, for example, 60% stocks and 40% bonds based on your goals and risk tolerance. But as the market moves, the values of those assets change. Stocks might surge, pushing their share of your portfolio far beyond that original 60%. At that point, your portfolio has become tilted, and it may be taking on more risk than you originally wanted. So when is a good time to rebalance? On a set schedule. This is the most common and easiest method. Every 6 or 12 months, take some time to review your portfolio after major market moves. For example, after a big bull run in the stock market or sharp downturn, your allocation may have shifted significantly. After major life changes, getting married, having kids, buying a house, approaching retirement, all of these can change your financial goals and risk tolerance and may require you to adjust your portfolio. What is rebalancing in simple terms? It's selling some of the assets that have gone up a lot and now take up too big a share of your portfolio, and using that money to buy more of the assets that are underweight or have lagged. This brings you back to your target allocation, helps you maintain your desired risk level, and also lets you buy low, sell high in a systematic way. It's like pruning branches in your garden to keep everything balanced and healthy. Remember, rebalancing is not about constantly dancing around with your investments. It's a deliberate periodic action to make sure your portfolio still aligns with your goals and your original risk tolerance. 2. Exploring more advanced strategies. Once you have experience, once you're comfortable with the basics, understand how the market works, and feel confident managing your portfolio, you can start thinking about exploring more advanced investment strategies. In the beginning, we focused on simple, accessible approaches, like index investing through ETFs or solid basic stocks. That's your strong foundation. But the investing world is much bigger than that. You can start diving deeper into value investing, looking for companies whose stock price is below their true intrinsic value, like Warren Buffett has done for decades. Growth investing, focusing on companies with strong future revenue and earnings, growth potential often in tech or emerging industries. Dividend investing, building a portfolio of companies that pay regular dividends, creating a stream of passive income. Real estate, not just buying a home to live in, but investing in rental properties, commercial real estate or REITs, real estate investment trusts, corporate bonds, more complex hedge funds, or even derivatives, markets like options and futures. However, don't rush into it. This is not the time to jump headfirst into things you don't understand. It's like going from driving an automatic car to a manual. You need time to learn, practice, and get used to the new driving feel. Every advanced strategy comes with its own risks and requires deeper knowledge. Make sure you've mastered the multiplication table of the market, understand yourself, and know your risk tolerance before stepping into these more complex arenas. And don't hesitate to seek guidance from trustworthy financial professionals. 3. The importance of continuously updating your financial knowledge. The financial world never stands still. New tools appear. Regulations change, and global events like pandemics, wars, or inflation spikes can have massive effects on markets. If you stop learning, you fall behind. Knowledge is an investor's most powerful weapon. It helps you make better decisions. Understanding macroeconomics, industries, and company analysis helps you choose better investments. Identify and manage risks. Knowledge lets you spot potential pitfalls and plan ahead to reduce them. Adapt to change. When markets shift, informed investors can adjust their strategies more easily. Avoid scams. In a world overflowing with information, being able to tell a credible source from empty promises is absolutely critical. So how do you keep your knowledge up to date? Read new books. There are always great investing and personal finance books being published. Follow trusted financial news sources, Bloomberg, the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, or high-quality YouTube channels like this one. Take in-depth courses. There are plenty of excellent online and offline courses from universities and reputable organizations. Join investor communities, learn from other people's experiences, but always keep a critical mind. Follow the financial reports of companies you're interested in. I still read and learn every single day. Sometimes, the more I learn, the more I feel how little I know. That's actually a good sign. It means you're growing and becoming aware of how vast knowledge really is. Make learning a habit, a non-negotiable part of your investing journey. 4. Investing in yourself. The highest return investment you'll ever make. Finally, and most importantly, before we put money into stocks, bonds, or real estate, remember that the highest return investment you can ever make is the one you make in yourself. It might sound a little philosophical, but think about this. Your health. A healthy body gives you the energy to work, learn, and make good decisions. Illness doesn't just cost money, it also eats up your time and opportunities. Invest in healthy eating, regular exercise, and proper sleep. Your knowledge and skills. These are the foundation for increasing your value, growing your career, and creating new income streams. A course to improve soft skills, a new certification, or simply making time to read about a field you're passionate about. All of that is an excellent investment. Your relationships. Building a strong, high-quality network can bring new opportunities, valuable advice, and sometimes unexpected support. Your personal development. Investing in your mindset, problem-solving ability, patience, and discipline, all of these will make you a better investor and a happier person. Think about it: a sharp mind, a healthy body, new skills. These all help you create more value, earn more income, and ultimately give you more capital to invest financially. On top of that, these investments never lose value. They compound throughout your life. They're assets no one can ever take away from you. Treat your own growth as the foundational investment, the core that allows all your other financial investments to truly bear fruit. So there you have it. Chapter 10. The next steps on your journey is not an ending. It's an invitation for you to continue exploring and growing. Rebalance your portfolio when needed. Be willing to learn new strategies once you're ready. Keep your financial knowledge up to date. And above all, never forget to invest in yourself. That's the investment with the most sustainable and meaningful returns. The investing journey is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be ups and downs, but with knowledge, persistence, and belief in yourself, you'll grow steadier and stronger over time. There is no final finish line, only new milestones for you to conquer. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, share it with others, and subscribe so you don't miss the valuable content coming up next. Thank you for spending your time with me, and I'll see you in the next videos, wishing you confidence and clarity on your investing journey. We've just spent a lot of time exploring the core principles of investing, from the power of compound interest to the importance of diversification to the mindset you need when stepping into the market. But I know that after every lesson you might be left with a familiar feeling. Okay, lots of good ideas. But where do I actually start? Can I really do this? Or is it all just theory? Don't worry, that feeling is completely normal. It's a mental barrier almost everyone faces when they're just getting started. And that's exactly why I created this section, 7-Day Action Plan from Learning to Doing. This isn't just a to-do list. It's a concrete step-by-step roadmap you can follow over the course of a week to turn all the concepts we've covered into real-world actions, helping you lay that very first brick on your path to building wealth. Think of it as your personal hands-on workshop, a kind of journey journal that I'm confident you'll be proud of once you complete it. Let's dive in. Days 1-2. Build a solid foundation. Define your goals and measure your fuel. We'll use these first 2 days to lay down the strongest possible foundation together. It might sound a bit philosophical at first, but trust me, this is the most important step. It will be the compass that guides every financial decision you make from here on out. First, define your financial goals. What do you want from your money? What does money mean to you? Answer these questions as honestly as you can. Do you want to buy a home in the next 5 years, build a big fund to send your child to study abroad? Or maybe you simply want a rock-solid emergency fund or a large enough nest egg to retire early and comfortably. Make your goals as specific as possible. Instead of saying, "I want to be rich," say something like, "I want to have 5 billion VND in my investment accounts by age 45, so I can enjoy a peaceful retirement and travel around the world." Or, "I want to have 500 million VND saved up for a down payment on my first apartment by the end of 2028. When your goal is specific and has a clear deadline, your motivation becomes much stronger. Think of it like setting the GPS for your financial journey. Once you know your destination, you can figure out which route to take and how fast you need to move. Don't be afraid to dream big, but start with goals that are measurable and achievable. Write them down on paper or in an app. Seeing your goals every day will give you a powerful boost. Next, calculate how much you can realistically invest each month. Once you know where you want to go, you need to know how much fuel you've got to get there. This is where we bring in a few boring numbers, but they're incredibly practical. Open up an Excel sheet, a Google sheet, or just grab a notebook. 1. List your total monthly income, salary, bonuses, side jobs, rental income, etc. 2. List all your fixed monthly expenses, rent, mortgage, utilities, internet, basic groceries, transportation, tuition, etc. 3. Income, expenses, amount left over. That leftover amount is what you could potentially invest. But don't rush. First, make sure you're setting aside money for an emergency fund, if you don't already have one, and allocate a bit for flexible spending and fun. The goal is to find a number you can commit to investing every month without hurting your current quality of life. Even just $20 or $50 a month is a fantastic start. The key is consistency and discipline. Warren Buffett once said, "Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving." Apply the pay yourself first rule when your paycheck comes in immediately. Move that small investment amount aside before you start spending. Don't stress about finding the perfect number right now. The goal is simply to begin. A small amount invested consistently will do far more for you than a big amount you can't maintain. Use these 2 days to think seriously and set some concrete numbers. Days 3-4. Build a budget and research brokerage firms. We've got your goals and an estimated monthly investment amount. Now it's time to get a bit more practical, turn those estimates into reality, and find the right partner to walk with you on this journey. First, create a detailed budget. I know budget is one of those words that makes people frown and think of something dry, restrictive, and stressful. But don't think of it as a set of handcuffs. A budget is simply a map of your money so you know where it's going, and more importantly, where you can find extra cash to invest. You can use a budgeting app, Excel, or just a notebook. Track all your income and expenses for at least 1 month. You'll probably be surprised at what you discover. Maybe it's those daily takeout coffees, unnecessary meals out, or subscriptions you don't even use anymore. Once your cash flow is clearly laid out, it becomes much easier to adjust things and carve out the monthly investment amount you decided on in days 1-2. You might realize you can free up an extra $200,000, $300,000 VND a month without feeling much difference in your lifestyle. That's the power of budgeting in parallel with panning for gold in your spending. It's time to play detective research and choose a brokerage firm. This is your gateway to the financial markets. You'll need a brokerage account to buy and sell investment assets like stocks, bonds, and ETFs. There are plenty of reputable brokerages on the market. Your mission for these 2 days is to research and compare. Ask questions like reputation and licensing. Are they licensed by the State Securities Commission or your country's regulatory authority? What's their track record? Trading fees? This is crucial. What are the fees for buying, selling stocks, custody fees, or other charges? For beginners, it's smart to pick a brokerage with competitive fees or special offers for new accounts. Platform and app. Is their trading platform, website, mobile app, user-friendly? For beginners, a clean, intuitive interface is incredibly important. Try downloading their app and exploring a demo if possible. Available products. Do they offer the products you're interested in? For example, ETFs, open-ended funds, and large-cap stocks. Customer support. Do they offer responsive professional support? Try calling or emailing them to see how they handle questions. You can look up information on Google, read reviews, and join investing forums or groups to hear first-hand experiences. Don't be afraid to spend time on this step. Choosing the right companion can make your journey much smoother and help you feel more confident. Every brokerage has its own strengths. What matters is finding the pair of shoes that fits you best. Days 5 to 6. Complete the process of opening your brokerage account. Found your partner. Great. Now, it's time to turn intention into your very first concrete action, opening a brokerage account. It might sound big and scary, like it involves tons of paperwork, but in reality, it's much easier than you think, especially in today's digital age. Most brokerages now offer a quick and convenient online account opening process using eKYC, electronic identity verification. The process usually looks like this. 1. Visit the brokerage's website or download their app. 2. Select open an account or sign up. 3. Fill in basic personal info, full name, phone number, email, etc. 4. Take photos of your ID. You'll need your national ID card or citizen ID. Take clear photos of both sides and sometimes a selfie for face verification. The eKYC system will automatically check your information. 5. Sign the electronic agreement. After your info is verified, you'll sign the account opening agreement electronically, right in the app or on the website. 6. Finish and wait for confirmation, usually within a few minutes to a few hours. You'll get an email or text confirming your account is activated, along with your login information. A few quick tips: make sure your internet connection is stable and the lighting is good when you take photos of your ID and face. Read through the terms and conditions before signing. If anything is unclear, don't hesitate to contact the brokerage's customer support. They're there to help. I know you might feel a bit nervous about sharing personal information, but reputable brokerages have strict security measures to protect your data. And remember, this is a necessary step for officially entering the market. Use these 2 days to complete this important milestone. Don't let fear of paperwork hold you back. This is a major leap forward, one you'll remember on your investing journey. Once your account is open, you'll feel like you've already taken a huge step, and your confidence will grow. Day 7, a historic day. Deposit funds and place your first ETF order. And here it is, the day we've been waiting for, day 7. This is Action Day, the day you turn knowledge and preparation into a real financial transaction. You might feel excited, nervous, maybe a bit anxious, and that's perfectly normal. First step, deposit a small amount of money into your brokerage account. You don't need to deposit a lot right away. Start with an amount you're comfortable losing, even though you most likely won't lose it. It could be 500,000 Haas, VND, 1 million, 2 million, whatever matches your situation and the ETF you're planning to buy. The goal is to get familiar with the process of funding your account and making a trade. Depositing money is usually very simple, just like a regular bank transfer. You'll transfer from your bank account to the brokerage's account number assigned to you. Second step, and the most important one. Place your first order to buy an ETF. Why an ETF? As we've discussed in earlier videos, ETFs, exchange-traded funds, are an excellent choice for beginners. Instant diversification. Instead of picking individual stocks one by one, an ETF invests in a whole basket of stocks, for example, those in a market index like VN30. This gives you automatic diversification and reduces the risk compared to buying just 1 or 2 stocks. Low-cost ETF management fees are usually much lower than traditional mutual funds. High liquidity. You can buy and sell ETFs on the stock exchange just like regular stocks. Log into your brokerage app or platform. Search for the ticker symbol of the ETF you've researched, for example E1VFVN30, to track the VN30 index. Enter the number of units you want to buy or the total amount you want to invest. Then, take a deep breath and hit place order or buy. This is the moment where most people hesitate. Your finger might hover nervously over the buy button. You might think, is this really okay? Is it safe? Is this a good price? All of those thoughts are completely normal. Just remember, this is your first step part of your learning process. Think of it as an investment in your own education, helping you feel more confident and better understand how the market actually works. Congratulations, you've just made your very first trade in the financial markets. Write down how you feel. This trade is an important milestone. Even if it's a small amount, you've turned knowledge into action, and that's the most powerful thing. And just like that, in only 7 days, you've gone from listening to doing, from passive learning, to actively stepping into the investing world. You've clearly defined your financial goals. You've calculated how much you can invest without hurting your lifestyle. You've created a budget and found the extra money to invest. You've researched and picked a brokerage that fits you. You've completed the account opening process. And most importantly, you've placed your very first ETF buy order. Remember, investing is a marathon, not a sprint. Start small, keep learning, and stay patient. Don't let short-term market swings discourage you. The most important thing you've just done is this: you started and you took action. If you've completed this 7-day plan, share your experience in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story, the challenges you faced, and the joy of making your first trade. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more valuable content on money and investing. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Action is the key, and you've already turned that key. See you in the next video. Welcome to the part that I truly believe is the golden key that can help you unlock a more solid financial future. After everything we've just gone through together from the book How to Invest Money, I know some of you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Hundreds of pages, tons of jargon and strategies that seem complicated at first glance. Don't worry. My mission in this section is to distill all of that down into 3 core messages, 3 unshakable principles that anyone, whether you're just starting out or already have some experience, needs to carve deep into your mind. Think of these as 3 solid anchors that will keep your investing ship from drifting off course in the vast ocean of information out there. Let's walk through these 3 golden keys together. 1. Visto akor. Wihanorai 1 Hinkwardu 1. Start now even with a small amount. The power of time and compound interest will work wonders. Sounds simple, right? But I'd bet this is the biggest barrier for most people when it comes to investing. I don't have enough money. I'll wait until I have a bigger amount. I'll start later. These are things I've heard and even told myself in the past, more times than I can count, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that is a very expensive mistake. Look at it this way. When is the best time to plant a tree 20 years ago? When is the second best time right now? That principle applies perfectly to investing. The reason lies in 2 magical forces the book emphasizes over and over again: time and compound interest. You've probably heard that Albert Einstein supposedly called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. Why? Imagine you put some money in the bank and earn interest on it. Next year you earn interest not only on your original amount, but also on the interest you earned from the year before. Then the year after that, you earn interest on all of it again. Over time, your money doesn't grow in a straight line. It grows exponentially. It's like rolling a small snowball down a snowy hill. At first, it's tiny. But as it keeps rolling, it picks up more and more snow, gets bigger and bigger, and the speed of its growth accelerates. And time is the strongest fuel for that process. A small amount invested early has decades to soak up the power of compound interest, and the final result can easily surpass a much larger amount invested later. I know a lot of you might be thinking, I only have a few $100,000 a month. What can I possibly invest with that? Believe me, those few $100,000, if invested consistently and patiently over 10, 20, 30 years, can turn into an impressive retirement fund, a college fund for your kids, or simply a level of financial peace you never thought was possible. So push those excuses aside. Don't wait until you have $1 million to start investing. Start today with 1 million VND, 500,000 VND, or even the money you'd normally spend on a few coffees each week. The most important thing is building the habit and giving time and compound interest the chance to work their magic. 2. Keep it simple. For beginners, low-cost index funds are the smartest choice. The investing world can look like a maze: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, real estate, crypto, commodities, and each of those categories has thousands of variations. The pressure to pick the next superstar stock or the next breakthrough company can make your head spin and often leads to doing nothing out of fear of making the wrong move. The book, How to Invest Money, offers a powerful piece of advice, especially for beginners. Keep it simple, and the simplest, most effective tool for that is low-cost index funds. Sounds a bit technical, right? Let me break it down. Instead of trying to pick individual stocks that might win something even professionals struggle to do, consistently index funds let you invest in the entire market or a large slice of it with just one investment. For example, an index fund that tracks VN30 will own a small piece of the 30 largest companies on the Vietnamese stock exchange. If the overall market grows, your fund grows with it. So what are the benefits? Instant diversification. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket. Right away, your investment is spread across dozens or even hundreds of companies. If a few of them hit rough times, your whole portfolio doesn't collapse. Ultra low cost. This is a big deal. Index funds follow a simple set of rules and don't require a team of superstar analysts constantly buying and selling. That keeps management fees very low, which means more of your returns stay in your pocket instead of getting eaten up by costs. Proven performance. Over the long term, most actively managed funds, where managers try to beat the market, actually fail to outperform basic index funds. In other words, by not doing much, you're often doing something incredibly smart, simple, and time-saving. You don't have to track the news every day, read every earnings report, or agonize over what to buy next. You just buy and hold. Think of index funds as the autopilot mode for your investments. They let you benefit from the growth of the economy without needing to become a full-time financial expert. For beginners, this isn't just a good choice, it's a brilliant one. It helps you avoid many of the common mistakes individual investors make when they try to pick winners from day one. 3. Investing is a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient, stay disciplined, and don't panic when the market swings. This might be the toughest lesson, but it's the one that will determine your long-term success more than anything else. Imagine you're running a marathon. You've trained hard, you have a clear strategy, but along the course, there are uphill stretches that burn your legs, moments when you're exhausted, and times when you just want to quit. Some runners might burst out of the gate faster than you at the start, but can they maintain that pace all the way to the finish? The financial markets are the same. They don't move in a straight line up. There will be times when the market skyrockets, giving you an incredible sense of excitement. But there will also be times when it plunges, leaving you anxious, confused, even terrified. That's when your instincts start screaming. Sell everything, protect what's left. This market is too dangerous. But it's exactly in those chaotic moments that patience and discipline become your most valuable allies. Patience markets move in cycles. After recessions and crashes, they have always recovered and gone on to reach new highs in the long run. History has shown this again and again. Panic selling during downturns locks in your losses and often causes you to miss out on the rebound. Hold on to your belief in long-term growth. Discipline. Create a clear investing plan. For example, invest X amount every month into Y index fund and stick to it no matter what the market is doing. This is called dollar cost averaging. When the market is up, your fixed amount buys fewer shares. When the market is down the same amount, buys more shares, letting you accumulate assets at lower prices. It's a powerful way to remove emotion from your decisions. Don't let clickbait headlines, social media gurus, or your short-term emotions dictate your moves. Turn down the noise. Look at the big picture. Trust your plan. I know it's incredibly hard to stay calm when you see your account drop by double-digit percentages. I've been there too. But in those moments, remembering that investing is a marathon is what helped me stay the course. The race doesn't belong to the one who sprints the fastest at the starting line. It belongs to the one who can stay steady over the long haul. So my friends, here are your 3 golden keys. 1. Start now, even with a small amount. The power of time and compound interest will work wonders. 2. Keep it simple. For beginners, low-cost index funds are the smartest choice. 3. Investing is a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient, stay disciplined, and don't panic when the market swings. These aren't just tips from a book. They're principles that have been tested and proven over time across generations of successful investors. They're your compass, guiding you through the complexity of the markets and pointing you toward the financial future you've been dreaming of. Now that you're holding this golden key in your hands, what's next? Action. Start today. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next part of this video, where we'll explore